Man, we got another fantastic drop-in set up for the night, Reese. You ready to
Unbelievable,
go?
man. We are ready to go. And when I say this, it's almost shocking. This is our 15th episode of the Sports Shop Drop In, where we just drop in on guys, people that's doing great things across the board, whether it's sports, whether it's politics, whether it's community. And this guy actually is involved in all those things. He hails from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, K-Mac, by the way, where he matriculated there. And while he was there, he just happened to win a national championship in 1982 and, 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 and left there and did so many other big things in the National Basketball Association. But along the way, he won a gold medal, Olympic gold medal in 1984, and just so many other countless awards. Played a gazillion years in the NBA, and of course, recently in 2018, he was inducted into the College Basketball Hall of Fame. Welcome to the Sports Shop. He's not a stranger. He's been on many times on our radio show. But welcome to the drop in, our friend, our main man, man, Kappa man. I got to throw that in there too. Sam Perkins. What's up, Sam? How you doing, man?
Man, good, man. All fortunate and everything. Just trying to make it day by day.
And of course, we always rock with the usual suspects, as I say. Jasmine not here; she had to go to another event. But of course, myself, K-Mac, and another friend of yours, dear friend of yours, Sam, is the great Chucky Brown, who also played in the NBA a gazillion years. So.
He got more jersey than me.
Yeah. Well, all thing you gotta do is 7 teams in the NBA. That's how many jerseys he has.
Yeah, at least half of them.
Well,
At least half. He got enough of them. I tell you that.
Big Smooth. Let me ask you a question, Sam. Who gave you that name, man? How'd you get that name, Big Smooth?
Hey, I mean, I don't know how I know how it evolved. But I don't know how it stuck because I'm nowhere near smooth. But
yeah, okay.
I had a clown on my team. There's always a clown on every team in the NBA, and Byron Scott he gave it to me. And I was walking one day to practice. Only had like 2 minutes to go, and everybody's running past me to get there on time. And I'm walking in like I got 2 minutes to go. So I'm just walking casually, and here I come to the circle. And he said, he looking all smooth and that he ain't even worried about getting fined. And I never got fined. So I made it just in time where everybody else was running. And then he gave me the name because James had a nickname. Vlade had a nickname. Magic was Magic, of course. So he gave me the name Smooth. And then it just took off from there to Seattle. When Kevin Calabro, his voice was booming on the mic. So he gave it to me and it stuck. Big Smooth.
I remember hearing them. That's when we was in Seattle. They was just popular all the time when you was up there, man.
Yeah, they did. Sean was Rain Man. Gary was the glove, and so you always had some clown giving everybody names just to give it, and that's how it stuck.
Oh wow, man! All right, go ahead, Chuck. I know you got a whole lot of stuff you want to jump in. So we're just gonna be all over the place. So just hang with us a little bit, Sam.
Got you.
Yeah, my Sam was one of my favorite teammates, and like I always remember this one time we playing in Atlanta, and was two things. One funny story I'm gonna bring up, and Sam will remember this when I start telling it. But we were in Atlanta, and one of my favorite plays of my career, and I had a long career, had a lot of dunks on people and all that. But I remember Sam getting a pass in the low post. He got double teamed, and he threw me this left hand hook pass. And I caught it, and I climbed up Blair Rasmussen's chest, and I banged it. That's one of my favorite. That. You remember? You remember that? So that's one of my favorite plays as far as a player. And, now, one of my favorite moments with Sam on the court, we playing. And Sam gonna remember this once I start telling it. So we go to New York. We playing the Knicks, and so like before the game, shoot around. So Sadell Threet comes on the bus telling us about how tired he was. He had to take his family out shopping. I don't know how to do it tonight. So then we get to the game. So we playing. So Sadell is having a great Sadell got about 39 at this point. So we had a free throw line. One of the Knicks is shooting the free throw. I can't remember who, but Sedale, like after the first free throw, Sedale steps in. Sometimes guys step in and they'll say something, they call a defense or whatever. So Sedale steps in, he goes, Sam, who guarding you? So Sam looks over at Oakley. So Oakley's next to him. So he said, Oakley. He said, oh, because I don't know who got me. I'm killing you. And it was Mark Jackson was standing right beside him. Man, that was the funniest thing ever.
Yo, Sedale used to do that all the time because we were getting off. If somebody was scoring points, he would actually tell the guy in front of you or next to you, who got Sam, who got Chucky, who got this, and it would be so funny because it would put the guy on blast. But that's Sedale. Chucky's right because Sedale. I'm gonna tell you this story about Sedale.
Okay.
Sedale, real quick. He came. He was always out. And it's no secret, he was always drinking, but he would never get any rest. I mean, he would be out the next day and come back in and give you 25, 30 points, 26 and 6 or 8. And I don't know how he did it. I really don't know how he did it. So this one time, it was a Sunday afternoon, it was a Sunday morning. And he comes by my house in the marina in LA. We played together. And he'd been out all night. I saw him last night out somewhere, and he comes out, and I'm ready to get up for practice because it's an early game. It's a late game, but an early practice. He comes to my house at 7 o'clock. I'm about to get out because I have to get treatment and everything and all this. He lays at my house till about, I don't know when, but he shows up to practice at 9:30. And that's one of the times where, you don't want to be fined or anything like that.
Right.
He gets in at my house at 7. I leave him. The key and everything. I lock the door. He gets ready and he's at practice at 9:30. I don't know how he did it. That same night, he scores 25 points. And I don't know. And that's Sedale for you. He was always telling people who got who, because he's putting everybody on blast. And and Chuck is right. I do remember that because we were in New York. He was out all afternoon. He took his family shopping. I don't know what he did, but while everybody gets rest, he's up every night, all night. And that's one of the guys I can't figure out how he played basketball for that long. You just know Sedale. You have to know Sedale.
Oh wow. I can imagine so. Oh wow. Go ahead, Mac. Wow.
Man, listening to these stories, Sam. Funny enough, Sam, as long as I've known Chucky, I just realized he had a championship ring. I had no idea that Chucky actually was a champion.
Hey, don't listen to him, Perk. Don't listen to him.
I always give him a hard time. And say, you're an NBA champion? Man, I had no idea. I didn't know that. I said, you know what, man? I want to ask, just listening to you talk some of the stories. What's probably when you look back on it, when you think about your career, you think about, playing and your playing career, all the people and all the guys you met. What's probably the one thing that you probably just said, I would have never known this is what it would have been like?
Well, first of all, my rookie year, because I came to Dallas, and I'll tell you something crazy. We weren't used to losing so many games at Carolina. So my rookie year, I said something. I was a rookie too. You're about to crack up on this. I was a rookie, and I started out with Dallas. I came late because I was holding out, and coach put me straight in the game. I mean, I'm guarding the first team. First guy I had to guard was Kevin McHale.
Wow.
The next night, I'm guarding somebody like Tree Rollins, and this is all at home. And we started out 0-2, and I'm a rookie now. And I forget about 82 games. I go in the locker room and I'm pissed. I'm like, yo, man, aren't we? I mean, nobody's caring that we 0-2. the guys, I'm yelling from my stall. I don't know why I did this, but I thought I was showing some leadership. I was like, yo, y'all, we come in here and nobody's worried about we just lost 2 games in a row. They told me, man, sit your rookie ass down. We got 80 games to go. I'm frantic over the 0-2. And everybody else is looking at me like, man, if you don't sit your rookie ass down, we got 80 games to go. And it didn't dawn on me like that is true. You know? So I didn't know it was like that. I mean, I thought nobody cared. Everybody went in the locker room. And at this time, I remember my rookie year, they had beer in the locker room. People were drinking beer. Yeah, they were drinking beer. And everybody rushing to get a beer. And here I am talking like I'm preaching. And they were, sit your ass down. This is NBA. You know, so I didn't know it was like that. I got a full course, real hard course of what NBA was going to be like. And, you know, you lose a game, you lose 4 games, it ain't no concern because everybody's going to do that once in a while. And so that, you know, in the Western Conference, I didn't know. So, but I learned quick. I got along and went along at the same time. And basketball and NBA was different from college. And I got that firsthand experience. But playing with some guys with Magic and Gary Payton and Reggie Miller, Sean, man, these guys, I mean, and then you have teammates that you have. I had a guy by the name of Tom Sluby. I don't know if you remember him.
Tom Sluby, no, I don't remember him.
Oh, he was from Notre Dame. He was a good player.
Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, you remember he's from Notre Dame. And we hung out. I mean, Terrence Stansbury. I mean, I've gotten along with a lot of guys and got to know a lot of guys in the league. And I mean, it was just a 17-year run, which I never think would happen. But it was an experience just playing against. I played against Chucky and played with Chucky, but it was a good experience during those days.
Well, 17 years, and Chucky, you had what? You had 13. How many you had, Chucky?
13.
Good gracious, man! Y'all.
Yep.
Let's
I never
about
thought it would
Clinton.
happen either. I never thought it would happen.
Unbelievable. Well, you know what? Like I said, we're gonna jump around a lot, Big Smooth. But let me go back to beginning. Why'd you pick Carolina as a place you want to go to school?
Because it resonated, I guess, because of Dean Smith. I had met a lot of coaches at that time. I met Digger Phelps. I met on that same trip, I met Lou Holtz. But I met Lefty Drizel.
Yeah.
But I almost went to Maryland. I'll tell you that. But that's another story. But,
wow.
But I met also Larry Brown and Boeheim, and but the thing that answered my question, or the coach that answered my question, was Dean Smith, because it was like I was kind of hesitant about school. Like college, you know, kind of intimidated me because I ain't have that great of a high school record. I mean, once I got to my junior year, I got serious, but I was trying to figure out how these guys play and at the same time go to school. And he was the one who put, you know, confidence in me. So after my trip, that was one of the best trips I've had. And I met James Worthy at the time and played with him before that in the Pan Am games. And so with that kind of relationship, and then knowing Coach Smith and talking to him, he gave me the comfort of saying, like, you just go to school while you're there, you know, get a college degree. So that's how it happened. And he knew my family well. I don't know how he did that, but he was kind of a guy that very knows your name, knows your family, knows your sisters, wives, or if anything. He just kind of had an impact on you. And that's why guys came back every year to see him. And so, I mean, I felt comfortable, and that's why I chose Carolina.
Wow. Yeah, I always wanted to ask you that. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Let's stay there
So
for a minute. Let me jump one more, Cat Mac. You jump in. Let me stay there one more question. So you was there a year before Michael, right? Is that right?
Yeah, we were all. Yeah, James was ahead of me. I was ahead of Michael. So I was a Well, I was a
Yeah.
sophomore when he became a freshman.
And I know you had this question all the time. I think you and James kind of debated. Y'all had different opinions, but did you know when did you know Michael was Michael when he showed up at Carolina, or did it take a while for you to really find that out?
It took me a while because
Yeah.
I was from New York trying to fit in still, and I just knew our practices were intense. You know, our practices were probably more intense than the games because, I mean, we had a guy by the name of he's from Carolina, Curtis Hunter,
Oh yeah.
and Curtis Hunter was our so-called Michael before Michael got there because
Right.
Curtis was a slasher and getting to the hoop and things of that nature. But he wasn't nowhere near Michael. Not to take anything from him.
Yeah.
The thing is, when Michael came, that position became very competitive, and so you saw the competitiveness come out in practices, trying to
Mm-hmm.
slash to the hoop, getting to the hoop. Michael was just a little bit bigger than Curtis, but at the time, but our practices just elevated
Mm.
because the way coach had us pitted against each other. I mean, I might have played with Michael or I played against him, played against Worthy and so on and so on. But our scrimmages the game was to 6. And that was the hardest 6 points ever to get before practice was over because we did our defense first and we did our offense. We worked on zone, we worked on man-to-man, denying all that 4 corners. But the last thing was you had to go through scrimmage. And then you had, at the time they called suicides or
Yeah.
crossings. But
Right.
but then that Michael was so competitive in the scrimmage that he would not let his team down or lose, or we would not let them beat us like that because it was freshmen against the rest of the team, seniors. We had Al Wood, we had Jimmy Black.
Wow.
I mean, we had guys like that, and so I mean, that was probably one of the things I do remember about Michael while he was at Carolina. I didn't see what he was, at the ending result of what his career was like, but
Okay.
at the time I knew he was very competitive.
Wow. Interesting. Wow. Hi guys. Mac.
yeah, you were talking about when Michael got there, when Michael was playing with Michael at UNC. I just had one of the questions I got. You briefly talked about it, but out of all of the teams, I mean, all the schools that were recruiting you, all the teams that wanted you, and all those things, when you said, I go here, I go here, like I just want to know which one that you turned down that a lot of people just didn't know or wasn't aware that that was a possibility.
It would had to be Syracuse
Mm.
because Syracuse, Jim
Mm.
Boeheim was there all the time. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he can come because he didn't have to travel as far. New York, Syracuse, and where
Yeah.
he didn't have to come as far. So he saw a lot of my games. So he really kind of took, like, I think a guy by the name of Roosevelt Bowie was there. And he wanted me to slide right in that slot along with Tony Bruin at the time. Tony Bruin I would have been playing with Tony Bruin. So he gave me all these scenarios and things like that. But he was probably hurt more than anybody because he took a lot of time coming up to New York, seeing my games, having a soda. He paid for it, of course, but at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, he was really hurt because when I saw him at the McDonald's game, and he is the first person I saw after I made my decision. He was I was on the elevator, and I'm getting off, and he was getting on. He gave me a look like he could kill me if he could. He was like, "Oh, hey," like that.
Yeah.
But he didn't know the reason why I didn't choose Syracuse for a long time, and from that time on until he understood why I didn't go, he just really didn't have much to say to me. He got over it in time because they won a championship. You know, they won their little national championship. So the thing is that that was a team that everybody thought I was going to because I was in New York, and it just hurt him bad. It just hurt him bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, especially like back in that time, you know, because Syracuse was getting all the cats out of New York that could play. You know what I'm saying? So for a New Yorker to leave and go, you know, down south, I know Boeheim had to be hot under the collar about that one because he got to come see you play when the other cats couldn't get nobody there. You know, he just hopped in the whip. Exactly. So, you know, he basically whining and dining you, and I know in the back of mind he was like, "Yo, we got this kid. This is what we're gonna do." So the reason why he probably was so mad is because, you know, most of the time New York cats stayed. You know, they either it was Syracuse or St. John's. They stayed, you know, right there because they were, you know, good in basketball back then.
Right.
So I get that.
Speaking of St. John's, they recruited me. They started looking at me in the 9th grade, 10th grade.
Wow.
And Lou Carnesacca, I had met only maybe once. But in that time, you know, he had a guy that would come up and get to know my mom through the Board of Education because she worked for a Board of Ed. And somehow, Lou Carnesacca and them, I thought about St. John's because I really thought that was the only school that was going to be interested in me. So I really was thinking heavily until the letters started coming from everywhere. Buffalo State, Syracuse. The only letter I did not receive that I would have went there in a heartbeat. But the only school that didn't recruit me or I didn't know of was Marquette. I would have went to Marquette in a heartbeat because they had this cat by the name of Sam Worthen. And Sam Worthen I saw him on the playgrounds all the time. And when I knew he went to Marquette and I saw him play for Marquette, I said, that's where I want to go. But if they recruited me, I would have been there straight there. But they didn't for some reason. So
who's that? That was Al McGuire was there, right? I think
Al McGuire was there.
That's right. Yeah,
I saw him a lot. I saw him on TV a lot.
I bet. Wow, I bet they probably hate that. But that's interesting when we talk
Marquette
about
alums right now. They're pretty sick right now. They like,
I know.
We could have had Sam.
I know. Really? They probably like, really? You tell us now.
We could have had Sam.
I would have gave them carte blanche.
That's interesting.
Oh my God.
That's funny. Hey, and by the way, guys, I know a lot of people listening. I think some people are sending comments. If you want to ask Sam some questions, we'll post them up, K-Mac, and we'll probably get a couple of them in before we get off here. Unbelievable. Yeah, Marquette. That's interesting. But don't tell Phil that because Phil still got he still got nightmares about playing Marquette in the Final Four.
I know he do.
Don't you mention that to coach.
Around his time too.
I know he was like, matter of fact, he'll start like flinching or something. You start mentioning Marquette.
That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
That is funny. But you know,
man, you know what though? I was just thinking. I mean, you played. It was really competitive days. You know, I mean, all ball players. You know, you think you got what it takes. You think you're there. When you were playing at UNC, what's the one team or the one player that every time you knew they were on the scale, you like, I'm gonna bust their ass. Every time you got a chance, you like, I'm getting this one. This one, I got this. Let me have this right here.
Okay, everybody got one. No, everybody got one. We know that. Right? Everybody got one. So I'm gonna give it up.
Two stories. Every athlete got the same story. It's that one college that didn't recruit them that you can't stand them to this day. To this day, you're like, you know what? You didn't even recruit me. Out of all these schools, you didn't even send me a doggone thank you card. And there's that one player that you say, every time I got a chance, I put something on it.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know why it was, but it was Ralph Sampson.
Wow. Ooh. Oh, damn, Sam.
Wow.
You gonna pick that one?
Okay.
Hey, I'm telling you why. I'm gonna tell you why. It was two guys. It was Ralph Sampson and the guy that always talked noise to me was Wittenberg.
Oh God.
And Wittenberg,
of course,
would talk, but I didn't. That's how he was.
Yeah.
He talked so much smack because he just did not like Carolina. and it was a guy. It was Ralph Sampson and his guard Othell Wilson. And
okay.
I mean, it was the whole ACC at the time. But I mean, Duke was Duke. You know, you just get them. But it was always Wittenberg and Ralph Sampson, and these guys would talk all the time. And so we went to, I believe, first of all, Wittenberg was what, Coliseum, Reynolds Coliseum.
Yep.
Like at the time, and Wittenberg and Thurl and Sidney Lowe, they just didn't like us. We come in there, and they would beat us. They thought we was cheating and everything. And these guys would be ready for it. I mean, to tell you the truth, that was a hard place to play.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. Yeah,
because it was small and the people were right on you. Duke is a little further away. It's small, but they were a little further away.
They say it was loud in Reynolds. It was really loud in there too.
It was loud. And
yes.
To get in there, to get a win all the time, you had to go in there and mind your business real quick and get them down, punch them in the mouth, and then leave. You know, and that's how the game would go. But when Ralph Sampson came, they thought they had us. They got us a couple of times, and we went down there and got them. But one game I always got up for most of the time was Ralph Sampson because I was the underdog. He's 7'8".
Yeah,
6'9". And the thing about that, it was always like coach is always telling me, you know, do your thing, do your best, and I'm gonna do more than that. So I figured like from that on, he thought I was gonna be the underdog, but I mean, we had a squad too. But I always wanted to play well against Ralph Sampson and State because they were right there.
Right.
They were right there.
Go ahead, Chucky.
Yeah, Reynolds. I talked to a lot of guys. Like I played with J.R. Reed in Charlotte, and I played with Eldon Campbell. And one thing I used to ask, like a lot of the former ACC guys, like, well, where was the toughest place y'all had to go play? You know, just asking. And all of them would say Reynolds Coliseum.
It was.
Yeah, because the people like Carolina's bench was right there. It was somebody right behind you. Exactly. And they had, they was talking. I don't know if they planned to put the crazy people right behind the bench, but I always remember like at halftime or like at the end of the game, I think it was Guthridge. Was that a Coach Guthridge?
Yeah.
He would sprint out of there. I mean, he was an old dude, but he would get the wheels and he would get up out of there. He ran straight to the locker room. But yeah, I think that like. One of the teams that just because, like Sam said, you right there. Like the rivalry, like you always wanted to play well against Carolina, but like what people don't know, like I like a lot of times in the summertime, I would go down there and play. Like when the guys would go home here, I knew they was playing at Carolina, so I would go down there and they would let me play. I remember going in there to play, and I walked in the gym and I saw Dudley Bradley, Walter Davis. And I'm looking, I'm like, yo, they got cats coming back like that. I'm like, yo,
in the summertime, right?
The summertime was crazy. You would have like even like some of the football players. Like I remember one time being back and Lawrence Taylor was back there. So I was just like, dude, like, yo, I'm coming. If the cats ain't playing at State, I'm going over here to play and get better too. You know what I'm saying? So they are like the good thing about us being so close is that, and back in that time, it was only one mall. It was Crabtree Mall was the only mall. So you could go to you had Carolina, Duke, State, Cats, all at the same mall all the time. Now you got you got South Point and all that stuff. But yeah, like he said, it was always because we were so close. You always wanted to play good against that particular school. And I'm a witness to Wittenberg talking. He talks so much trash still to this day. So he ain't changed a bit, Sam. He ain't changed a bit.
Exactly, and that's why I singled him out because he would always talk about Carolina ain't this, Carolina. And he wanted to beat us so bad. And I can see his face to this day, how he disagreed with calls. Y'all get all the calls. Y'all get the, we didn't even touch them. We blow on them. They get a call. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's how it was. That's how it
Right,
was.
right.
I mean, teams used to come at it. I mean, you just don't know. Teams, like you said, State came after us. Clemson came at, you know, that was a dark place to play too, because that was probably one of the furthest places we had to go in the ACC. But I tell you, Carolina, you know, it helped you. It helped you. All those games helped you as you went on, because you could never relax. And every time you play somebody outside the conference, it helped you too, because of the fact you didn't know. You know, we played somebody like Alabama, Enos Watley, you know.
Yep,
And
that's my homeboy, Enemo.
okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we beat them, but just because how egregious the ACC was, it just helped me to stay sharp. That's all I'm saying, because we played different guys and different players every given night. Len Bias, Wittenberg, I mean Eldon Campbell. I mean, we played these cats to the point where we always had a threat. There was always a threat each night, and so that's why I said, to go back to the practices. The practices were like games, and so we played like we practiced, and vice versa.
It's interesting you say that, and I'm gonna just ask you this question, because I hear from a lot of former players at Carolina, and even from way back as Charlie Scott, and even some of the recent guys, but particularly during the Coach Smith era. It seemed like they said that when you guys practiced to the point where, well, let me ask you this question: did you ever feel like, let's say, regardless what the score was, people always say Carolina always come back and win a basketball game, and it seemed like Coach Smith conditioned you guys that way. Did you always feel that you guys were always in the game regardless what the score was?
I mean, without being, you know, bragging, I think, yeah, because it's not that I don't know if we actually knew we had a good team. Maybe people from the outside perceived us as having a good team.
Right.
But we always thought we had to work for everything. And we didn't know from game to game, we didn't know what the games were going to be like. Because you had Maryland one night coming in, and they talking noise. And then on a Saturday or a Sunday, we got Virginia coming in. I mean, it seemed like competition just got stiffer and stiffer. I mean, you could not fall asleep on State. You could not fall asleep on Duke. You could not fall asleep on Clemson. I mean, it's just that Carolina, everybody was gunning for us. And if they beat us, you know, they stormed the gym like they won a championship. So with that mentality,
yeah,
you just wanted to like get in and get out, because every time you went away, there was so much rowdiness. I mean, I've never seen so many people at a college game my freshman year, and I was just so amazed I said, what did I get myself into? Because the competition was stiff. I can't tell you how it was, but you had to, and you know Carolina. But even before I got Chucky mentioned Walter Davis and Dudley Bradley and Phil Ford, and Michael Korn. These guys, McAdoo. I mean, they had to go through the trenches too, and so I had to learn from them what it was going to be like at Carolina. I didn't know the history until I got there.
Wow. Let's let's transition just a little bit, a few minutes on this. The world, as we know, the world is at a time that we've never seen before, Sam, in terms of obviously with the COVID-19,
right?
And then there's a movement among us that's I think is long overdue, but I think it's happening, it's impacting people. Just your reaction to what's going on in the world right now.
Well, it's sad to see, but this has been prevalent for years, decades, and the legacy of John Lewis. I mean, we let a historian go slip through our fingers, because we did not utilize him as we should have, because this man has history. He has walked miles, and he has been a foundation for for Black Lives Matters a long time ago, way back in Selma with Martin Luther King and others.
Right.
So, I mean, with him and all the things that are going on, it seems like there was a turn for finally, black people in general just can't take it anymore. And with the witness of George Floyd being murdered, and I mean, literally on TV live, it took a lot of people back, and they made them realize for the first time, I guess, not for blacks, but for the first time, because there's Breonna and Travis, so many people that you can name, that finally other people of other races have finally seen what we've been talking about: discrimination, racism, police brutality against blacks. And no one believes us. We can cry and cry all day until finally something happened, something clicked. And now people are beginning to realize that there's so much systemic racism there going on. People are now coming to the forefront. But John Lewis has been fighting for decades. I mean, he was tireless. And now people are talking about, I'm tired of fighting for Black lives. I mean, given months, some people are like, this is tiresome. But imagine for all those years you got your head cracked and being carried off, because of the fact, or being brushed away by water pressure. I mean, I can't fathom what he went through. I mean, because it's not prevalent. But people who have, had their lives taken away from them, it's been a real issue, and I'm saddened because of for no reason, taking their lives for no reason. But I'm saddened because of the fact that this is still, you have people that have hearts hardened because blacks being black. And I mean, I always ask the question, why do you hate blacks? And I'm just waiting for an answer still, and no one gives me an answer. Why do you hate us so much?
Unbelievable.
And it could happen to any one of us at any given moment.
Right.
But I mean, hopefully it doesn't. But just imagine being stopped by a police officer.
Oh, yeah.
You do not know for the next 10, 15 minutes what's going to happen. Even if you oblige to what they're saying, they take you in a car and you never know. And so if you don't have a camera on, you never know what happens to that particular person or wherever this person, because there's a lot of people missing still, and no one has, the news is not going to report what they don't know. So it's a trying time, like you said. The tide has turned to some degree, but there's so much more, because it has to be legislated change. And you have to get those people out of there, because as you can see today, they had the Attorney General on.
Yes, I saw that.
And that was a fight between Republicans and Democrats.
That was a joke.
Yeah, so
that was a joke. I was like, this guy.
Yeah.
I was like, really? This guy is a joke.
You still have people, supporting racism and things
like
that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. You're right about that, man. You have guys.
Sam.
Oh, go ahead. Oh no, I was just saying that you have guys out here supporting racism and still supporting this dude in the White House.
Right.
And I watched him on an interview, and I can only take so much of him. But he said like they were asking him about a lady asked him about the killing of black men, and then he goes, well, white people are killed too. Yo, and I'm just like, dude. Then he gives these statistics, but then the statistics don't make sense, because if black people only make up 13%,
right?
And our numbers are like within 2% of white people getting killed, then the numbers still favor more black people getting killed, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So I'm just like at a point now where like I've tried to be patient and listen to Trump supporters, and it's like they can never tell you why they support him. They can tell you why, and it's always some bogus reason. And like to the black Trump supporters, like I had a discussion with a friend of mine, and he, through him talking, he was telling me, oh, ain't nothing wrong with Trump. And I was like, wait a minute, is this the same dude? Like, what? what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, and he starts giving me all these statistics and all these Republican talking points. And, like, when you talk about Bill Barr, and then when you talk about how he was today, he was like that when they brought him in before. You know what I'm saying? He was real, like he was agitated there. Like he came there for a fight. He came there for a fight and certain things that he won't answer. But if people can't see what's going on, I can't help them no more. So I'm at the point now where, you know what, if you're a so-called, I tried to listen, and I want you to listen to me. And that's the one thing I want, like for us as, Black people who want change. When we find white people that are willing to listen, let's keep them there so they can listen. Don't like, jump on them, you know what I'm saying, like they did something to you, if they're willing to listen. Now the ones that aren't willing to listen, I'm gonna jump on you, so you go on somewhere and don't come back here and talk to me. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just at the point now where I just don't even want to talk to them anymore. You're where you are, and I'm where I'm at. We're gonna have to agree to disagree.
Right.
Wow, Mac.
Yeah, Sam, I was going to ask you. All of us on this call tonight, all of us on this night, we're pretty sizable African American men, right? And one of the things we always talk about, we joke about, is being a threat on site, right? And as a lifestyle, it's one of those things where you kind of think, like, oh, well, what do you mean? It's like, no, you don't understand. It's like being a king cobra, right? And you live your life where no matter who it is, they're scared of you, no matter what. And you think to yourself, how could I be that imposing of a figure? And they live their life that way. We've now morphed into people. The smallest woman, African American woman she's a threat all of a sudden. So it's well beyond that at this point. And I'm trying to figure out, like, what is it possibly? What about an African American in your skin immediately makes you afraid, no matter if she's a 5'1", 17-year-old little girl, or she's a 6'9", African American, football player. It doesn't matter. If you're Black, at some point, depending on who it is, you're a threat. And I just can't figure. I can't figure out for the life of me what kind of switch turns to make people just immediately fear you just because you're an African American.
It's because it's I really don't know, but my opinion is that people have learned to do what others do. Mm-hmm. So I give you an example. If they heard that Black people do this, then the next one will believe that. The next white person will believe that. So it's whether they know it or not, it's just because their friends say, well, Blacks do this, or Blacks kill, or Blacks are, get mean and outrageous, and they see it. They don't even see it. They don't even see the rage. But just because people have now, like, it's like if monkey see, monkey do, right? So if you do it and believe it, then the next person comes along, and they don't have no reason or rhyme why they doing it. It's just because somebody else says this is it. For instance, Trump. I hate to bring him into this, but he is the follower. So if they tell you to drink disinfectant, people will drink disinfectant, because he has a platform. So when a person sees somebody in the store, a Black man in the store, they automatically don't want to be in that line, or they don't because of the fact they fear what they've seen. I don't know if it's television, I don't know what if it's social media, but they've seen us enraged. They seen a Black woman enraged. And so when a Black woman is enraged, we run too, but the thing is that they see without knowing real reasons, and they go on somebody else's impersonation or somebody else's opinion. So when that happens, you got a lot of people just following other people for no reason, and not trying to find out who this person is. And that's why when it comes to talking to people who fear Black people, they don't even know why they fear them in the first place. Now they always say, "Yeah, I got a Black friend," but you don't count because you're not like the other Blacks. But Black people gonna be Black people. we don't intentionally harm anybody. You know, like we don't hate any group of people.
Yeah.
I don't like, except for the KKK. We only hate them because they hate us.
Right.
And
right.
they've been doing to us for so long. We never hung a person, a white supremacist.
Right.
We never went out our way to go burn down their houses and anything like that. So when you see that happens, I take another example, Black Wall Street in Oklahoma. It was a misguided, misunderstanding, and they burnt the whole village down, the whole city.
Unbelievable.
Over a controversy. The young man, they say he accosted a woman, but they didn't. It went more than that. They didn't like what blacks were doing. They were being themselves, being enriched on their own living statements. And they had a systematic, just like they have today. But because of whites didn't like what they were having in Oklahoma and Tulsa, they burnt the whole city down because they felt that they didn't deserve any of this. And people to this day think black people don't deserve, and they don't even know why. And because they following history,
right?
To answer your question, they following history. They doing it without knowing why they doing it, and that's the harmful thing. That's the most harmful thing. People without knowledge will never know why and take the time out to find out why they hate or dislike black people, instead of just talking to one that and coming to the tables and really talking about it. And then they'll find out they have common ground in every way.
Yeah, you mentioned the Tulsa massacre. That was back in 1921, Black Wall Street, and that was
right.
That was incredible. A lot of people, and by the way, I think a guy named Dave asked a question about how did you got your name, Dave. Go back and look to the replay because he answered that in the beginning. Hey Sam, another question: how many NBA finals you played in?
I played in 3 with LA, Seattle, and Indiana.
Okay, unbelievable.
I thought my best chance was with with LA, because I had Magic and I didn't have, but I played with Magic, Byron, and James at the time. But they decided to get hurt on me when I get there. They weren't hurt before I got there, and they've been winning and winning and winning. But I thought LA was probably better.
Now, was this a game? And I mentioned this on a radio show where Michael went in where he didn't have to try to switch hands, but he did anyway. He just switched hands for the layup. We went in. Was that the same series you talking about?
Yeah, that was the same series, and AC was behind me. And for the life of me, AC said I got him, and I hesitated for that because I heard that.
Yeah.
Michael, like John Sally said in one of his interviews in The Last Dance, he said, you got to get to him before he take off, because when he take off, he's on a whole nother platform. And so we didn't get to him before he took off. And he did whatever he did. He switched hands and licked you on the way up, and that move was over.
We see that all the time. That's funny, man. Yeah, that's real funny. Yeah,
but playing against,
that's pretty good.
Playing against them, playing with them, it was. I mean, it was good. I mean, everybody, every cat I know, every guard that I played with gave him so much respect. And seeing The Last Dance, I mean, he had a demeanor that he was going out there to kill you.
Yeah.
I mean, he put his signature on you and then took off. And he did not want nobody to beat him, because that's how competitive he was.
Wow. Hey, Sam, I got to ask you a quick question. I've been having this argument with a couple of guys for about 3 weeks now.
You're going to continue
2 on 2. Exactly. 2 on 2. Michael Scotty against Magic Kobe.
What? Magic and Kobe? Okay, they all in
Magic
prime,
and Kobe.
Right?
Everybody in their prime. Everybody in their prime.
That's right. Everybody in their prime.
I'm I'm gonna take my man
Ooh.
Flight. I love Magic and I love Kobe, but I'm gonna take Michael can beat Kobe and remember Kobe copied him. Remember, Kobe copied.
I got it, Reese. Reese, I got it.
Yeah, I
got it.
Oh, he came to the edge of his seat on that one.
Kobe copied him.
I got it.
Magic would post you up, but Scotty
I get it. But look, when you consider Scotty the weak link offensively, though,
he would make it up on defense. He would make it up on defense.
But see,
I can see that.
Hey, man, you asked the right question because you left one guy out of that scenario. And I'm not sure where to put LeBron in that scenario, but I'm just curious. What the hell? So let me ask you a question, Sam. Is LeBron the greatest to ever play, in your opinion?
The greatest ever?
Ooh.
Yeah.
I can't say he's the greatest ever.
Top 5.
He's great.
It's in the top 5.
He's great. Okay, he's great in this time.
Okay.
Era. Because let me tell you one thing about LeBron and see if you would agree with me. Okay, so Michael played against Detroit and everybody else that was like men. Like there was parity. He came in and he played against Bird and served Bird. He served McHale. He served Dominique. He served just about everybody I can think of. Right. LeBron came in and his legend, his legacy, he's a great player. I give it to him. I like LeBron, but he has been playing against guys who are just now coming out of their senior year in college. I've seen these young guys bounce off him. Right. And I saw him in high school, and he was a man among boys. When he got to the NBA, he was playing against young men like he was a grown man by that time because his body, his physique was so big, he was playing small forward. The guy he was playing with was even smaller than him. And I always think that all these games, there was nobody physically that can match up with him. Maybe like a Len Bias, if he played, nobody could match up with Len because he was so physical and so big. And Michael was smaller than him. In college, Michael was small. There's a picture of them going against each other, and you can, if you ever find that picture, Michael was guarding him, one-on-one, and that's how I see LeBron against all these other guys. Oh, okay. Well, I agree with you on that one. I just wanted to get you going. I agree with you on that question. Go ahead, Chucky.
Yeah, I agree with that too. And Sam brought up a great point that I didn't never think about. How, back when we came in the league, you came in the league, it was grown men. Right. You know what I'm saying? And like when LeBron came in the league, like these guys, like they're young men. Like I remember when I came to Cleveland. Yeah. I came to Cleveland. Larry Nance was probably in his 7th or 8th year. Tree Rollins was in his 11th year. Paul McKeskey in his 11th year. You got guys, grown men that were there. This was their job, and that's where I learned that the NBA was a job, and they were there to feed their families. You know what I'm saying? And they wasn't about to let no young dude come in there and do nothing. So I think that and I think that now, like the guys now, they're coming in. They're not coming into those. I think because of the CBA agreement and how much it costs to keep around the older players. But keeping around the older players was good because it taught you. Like without me coming into that particular situation, I don't think I would have learned. I mean, I would have always known the work ethic, but I wouldn't have known like how to be a pro. Sam know what I'm talking about, how to be a pro. You know what I'm saying? So I think with the older guys, they teach the younger guys how to stay around that long. And I don't think that I would have been able to stay 13 years had I not been drafted to Cleveland and learned under Larry Nance, Tree Rollins, Paul McKeskey. We had Ron Harper there. You know what I'm saying? So, I think that now, like Sam said, LeBron has come into a little bit of a different situation. And even like when Kobe came in, he came into like a veteran team.
Yeah.
What I'm saying? It was some older dudes there. You know what I'm saying? Because he really wasn't playing a whole lot as a rookie.
Right.
So he was
Eddie
coming
Jones,
up with stuff. Right. So he was able to learn, what it was like or learn how to be a professional. And I think that's probably the one thing that I see. Like, and I love the NBA, but I think that's probably the one thing that I see that's missing is like the older players being it. You do need to keep like a couple of them around, just the good ones that show guys how to be a professional. So I definitely agree with what Sam was saying about that.
Wow.
Because in that era, imagine this. Chucky just talked about some players he played around, Larry Nance. But I had to guard Marcus Johnson,
Ooh,
Junior Bridgman.
Ooh.
There was times where I seen the likes of Sidney Moncrief jumping and giving me a foot in my neck.
Wow.
There was a guy that looked intimidating, but he was the nicest guy in the world. Terry Cummings.
Oh yeah.
I met a guy that was stronger than me. I could not move him. He squashed my hand so hard I wanted to cry. But there was a guy by the name of Artis Gilmore.
Woo! Big A-Train.
Yeah, so there was no way. I'm playing center, playing forward, and these guys are quicker than me, and they more knowledgeable than me. Kenny Carr. I go from, I was in the Western Conference, so when we played the East, I had to go against Parrish or see the likes of a deep Dennis Johnson or Detroit, Vinnie Long, or just somebody that Vinnie Johnson. There was some, or Grant, what's his name? The guard at Detroit Long. I forgot his name.
John Long.
Yeah.
And guys like Daryl Dawkins. So when I'm going down that line, that's what I think about when I think about the NBA, the pros. And so when I look at the pros now and I see people on different teams and they ain't nowhere near like them, but that's because the evolution of the game has changed to the point. So when you talk about LeBron getting his points against these guys, he is so much bigger and quicker and finesse that thee guys can't catch up.
Very good. We getting close to the end, K-Mac and Chucky, and I'm gonna just ask my last question. And you talk about 17 years in the league. You think your career, the maturation process of your career was developed because you developed the 3-point shot? Because I don't remember seeing you shooting 3-pointers in Carolina,
no.
but in the pros, you like the 3-point guy. How did that happen? Just working on your game, that kind of thing?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, try to tell you quick. It developed as time went on, and I was at LA, and Chucky would probably know this. At the end of the practice, big man split up, big man do their thing, and guards go on the other court. So I was finished with my 200 shots or something, whatever it was, and I'm walking across the court, going into the locker room, and Mike Dunleavy and he was still shooting it after practice with he's still competitive with Byron Scott, and they shooting threes all over around the horn and back. They told me to come over here and get some of this, young fella, and I was like, "What? You want me to come shoot with you on?" And he said, "Yeah, come get some of this." So I went over there because what else did I have? What I have to do, So I went over there and got my butt beat big time, and I kept doing that after my big man shooting drills and everything. So as time went on, I started to keep up with him. Now, of course, I didn't beat him, but I got closer as time went on. And so Dunleavy said, you should put this in your game. And he was going to, make some plays and things like that. So I shot some at the Lakers. But it really took off, and I had to practice in the summers with Coach Carl. And because he didn't play with a center. Remember, he played almost like Golden State when Donnie Nelson was
right.
He played open, and
Right.
he didn't have a real center at the time. So he wanted me, once I got there, to stretch the defense. And every time I was alone up there because Elijah Wan or Eden or David Robinson or whomever was guarding me always ran to the basket, and here I am trailing, and that's how it happened.
Wow.
Next thing you know it, he said, "You can got the green light. If you can make it, you can shoot it. If you can shoot it and make it, you can do it all day." And that's why it went where it went.
Wow, that's interesting. But hey, it worked out for you. Okay, Mac, you want to answer this question? We got a question up there, Mac. What question is a question for Chuck and Perk? How would your games would have translated in today's era, in today's game, your personal game?
You
Chuck,
go ahead first, Perk. Oh, I'll go. Okay, I'll go first. Well, my game, when I first came into the league, I was a slasher dunker. I eventually worked on my mid-range game, and like later in my career, I was able to shoot the 3-point shot better. But that was for working on. But in today's game, I think I would be pretty good because the lane is more open now. So those cuts to the basket, I mean, I think I still get a lot of dunks, and it was harder to get those dunks back then because a good shot today wasn't a good shot. Like a good shot today is like, 1 pass 3-point shot. That wasn't a good shot back in the day. You know what I'm saying? It was more ball movement. We played inside out. So the game, like I said, the game has changed, but there was always a center, and you had, the pieces around. So there's always somebody on that low block. But now today, it's like the whole lane is spread. So I think that my game would have transitioned just fine into today's game. I think I could average probably about 12, 14 points today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same there. I would agree because the game is so much open now. There's no such thing as posting up. And if you do post up, it's a high post to begin with. You look at Golden State, that they run around in circles before somebody make a mistake, and it's Denver does it too. Houston, they come over half court and shoot it. Damian Lillard shoots it like
I know
out of the locker room. So the game has evolved so differently than what Chuck and I known it to be, and you all have watched. But back then it was a commodity for me to shoot it. It was almost like part of strategy, part of strategize. But today's game, I would be if I played and if I was blessed to play today, it would be like I would be just like one of many shooting. So it wouldn't be so. It wouldn't be a surprise.
Special. Yeah.
It wouldn't be special. It wouldn't be something because everybody shoots it. And they tell you to shoot it now because of the fact is, the statistics and analytics and all this. You get more possessions and things of that nature. So guys are shooting it whether they shoot it can make a decent percentage or not. And that's how the game has evolved today.
Wow. I'm Mac.
I just want to ask real quickly. You had a wonderful career. You got a chance to play at some pretty cool places and some Hall of Famer yourself. If you had to look back on your NBA career, what's probably that one moment where you could probably say I was the proudest? With a game or a series or whatever. Say that was your proudest personally. That was your proudest moment. Playing in the NBA.
When I spoke up and said we 0-2. I'm just kidding. I thought that would be the proudest.
That's because you were naive. You didn't know any better.
Rookie, you didn't know any better, right?
I didn't know better, but I think I'm proudest because of one thing that I lasted as long, and the coaches had the confidence in me to do what they wanted me to do. I played with some great coaches, and it's not one particular game because all games are so different that I series and the playoffs, making the playoffs, 16 out of 17 is a great thing. But I think it was because of the fact that coaches utilized me and I had to work on it. And when I did work, they saw that I put in some work to make it happen. Evolving to the 3-point line did not happen overnight. It just didn't come to me. But playing inside and playing with Dick Motta, which I loved, I played for Richie Adubato. I don't know if you all know him, but he was a guy that really put me at small forward. But George Karl and Mike Dunleavy, and especially Larry Bird. Larry Bird gave me so much confidence in playing in my later years that he just played me, and he said, just hit one shot, you make a big difference. So with all that said, I think it was more like being consistent over the years. And you had some times where you didn't play so well, but the most proud thing was trying to be consistent. And I wish I did win a ring, but I don't have a ring like Chucky. But it was great trying to get one, and I was good with that.
Yeah, but 17 years is that's enough accomplishment right there. And by the way, Sam, you're Joey, Joey, how you pronounce that, K-Mac?
Cortado.
Yeah, he's on. He's your equipment manager.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know Joey. Yeah. What's up, man?
He's the equipment manager at the Pacers or somewhere, right?
Yeah,
I think
he was a guy that was funny in the locker room and making us laugh, and he lasted a great deal. He had a long career too now, so I ain't seen him in a long time. What's up, my man?
And Dr. Stroman, she wanted to chime in. She asked a question that you answered for. And D. Stroh, you know I love you, but just see the replay because he talked in depth about social justice and what's going on in the country right now. So if you get a chance, make sure, D. Stroh, you check that out because Big Spool made it happen. I know, Big Spool, I know you're involved in Special Olympics and Basketball Without Borders. And what are things you're involved with these days, right quick?
So I'm involved with girls AAU basketball. I'm one of the
Okay.
for this organization called Sci-Fair. And so, but Special Olympics is probably one of the things I've been more advocate for people with intellectual disabilities. And I mean, the NBA has too, and I'm sure Chucky has been to some of the events, but that's one of the things that I'm still, it's our 52nd anniversary, and we just had kickoff for inclusion, and it's the inclusion thing we all fighting for inclusion. Black Lives Matters, and it's also been a continuation with Special Olympic athletes and people with intellectual disabilities. So I've been involved with that, very, very concerned with that. I always take time out to do something and give back, and I'm grateful that they have me as a global ambassador.
That's awesome, man. Hey, Chucky, K-Mac, you guys got anything else? Because I know we try to stick to that 1 hour, but he's been so good to me. It's just not.
I mean, I got stories forever, man.
No, those are great stories, man.
The stories I can't tell.
It was a great story.
The stories I can tell.
I'll tell you one story that I'll probably never forget is Marquette lost out. I bet they didn't know that.
I know. That's gonna be like
that's right.
One day I'll tell you about the story about Syracuse, but I mean that was a heart-wrenching one.
Yeah, I can imagine. He's right there in your backyard. Chucky, get anything for you go?
Yeah, before we go, I mean, when he was talking about Mike Dunleavy, it brought me back to those days at practice because I remember, all of us that were on that Laker team, we had all played against Dunleavy too, because I played against Dunleavy as a rookie. Right. So I think that the trash talking that Dunleavy used to do was because he played against most of us. So I can remember Dunleavy. He would talk trash to me, but I knew I wasn't a 3-point shooter, so I would go. I was like, nah, I'm not messing with y'all. Then you shoot with Byron Scott. So, so I was just like, nah, y'all go right ahead. But it just brought back great memories of that team and how much fun we had. I remember one night we were playing, I think we played Portland. That was during the riots. We played Portland in the playoffs. Yeah, we played Portland in the playoffs. And I remember we're playing and I'm getting back on defense, and I slipped. And I remember Sam gave me so much so much hell about how I felt because I was running so hard back on defense. It was Cliff Robinson just like stop, and I just kept on going, and I slipped and like I was sliding into third base or something. But it just brought back great memories, and like I said, I just want to tell Sam thanks for coming on. And sharing the stuff, because this is people want to hear like those backstories. Because they don't get to see a lot of us behind the scenes, so they want to hear those stories behind the scenes. I just like to tell Sam thank you for sharing those with us.
Man, you've been a lifesaver sometimes, man. I mean, and we still good friends because we got a common friend, good friend.
Right.
Chuck, I mean, it took a long time for Chuck to wear Carolina blue. I have a camp every year. I didn't have it this year. And he would come by. I would give him stuff, but he would not wear it. But finally, because of his daughter, he's entrapped. He can't go back.
I know. Well, hey Sam, K-Mac and I and Chucky, and of course, we want to thank you. I know you could be doing a whole lot of things, but man, this is real special. Got a chance to get into the inside. And anything that we can do, man, to help you and your cause, don't hesitate to call us, man. We'll do what we can to support what you're doing. We appreciate you, brother.
Well, thank you, K-Mac, you and Chuck. Thanks, man, for
appreciate it, brother.
Asking me on, man.
Thank you, man.
All good.
Look. Hey, look, although you're a Cowboys fan, but I'm gonna let that slide,
Hold up. I'm not.
I came back.
Don't mix me up. Do not mix me up with that. I'm an Emmitt Smith fan and a Michael Irvin fan, but I am not a Cowboys fan. Let's be clear.
Let's say it's toes on the line. Get your toes on the line.
Toes on the line like Jerry Jones.
No.
Anyway. All right, boy. All right, Mac.
Y'all be good, man. It's been a pleasure. Right. This is a good one here.
Right. It was. Take care. We'll see you.
All right, Perk.
All right, man. You too. Be good.
All right.